Let me ask you something. Have you ever received a compliment that stopped you mid-sentence? Not because it was flashy or over the top, but because it felt true? Like the person saying it actually saw you? There's a specific kind of compliment that does that. And almost every time, it comes from an older man. Not a man who's trying to impress. Not one who rehearsed it in the mirror. But a man who's lived enough life to notice things other people walk right past. Today we're breaking down 8 compliments that hit completely differently when they come from older men, and more importantly, we're going to talk about why they work on a level most people never think about. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to understand something fundamental about attraction, communication, and what it actually means to make someone feel seen. Now before we get into the list, I want to clear something up. This video isn't a tutorial on lines to memorize or tactics to deploy. What we're really talking about today is perception. The ability to see another person clearly and reflect that back to them with honesty. That skill, genuine, unhurried observation, is something that tends to come with age. And when it shows up in a compliment, people feel it instantly. Here's the foundational truth: most compliments fail not because of what's said, but because of why it's being said. But a compliment that comes from calm, genuine observation? That's a different animal entirely. That's what older men, at their best, have learned to offer. Compliment number 1. You carry yourself with a lot of quiet dignity. Dignity. That's a word you don't hear often enough. Notice it's not "you're confident," which can sometimes feel like a generic box to check. Dignity is specific. It implies self-respect, composure under pressure, an internal standard that doesn't bend based on who's watching. When a man uses a word like dignity, it communicates something about him as much as it says something about her. It says he has a vocabulary for emotional and character-based qualities. That he notices character, not just charisma. And that his sense of what's attractive runs deeper than the obvious. That's the kind of recognition that makes a person feel, quietly, like they've been seen by someone who is actually worth impressing. Compliment number 2. There's more to you than most people probably take the time to notice. Let's talk about why this one is particularly powerful from an older man specifically. A man who is 50, 60, or beyond has had decades of reading people. He's met thousands of them. He's learned the difference between surface and substance. So when he says something like this, there's a credibility behind it. It doesn't sound like a strategy. It sounds like an assessment from someone who actually knows what depth looks like, because he's spent enough time in the shallows to recognize when something is different. This compliment tells her, "I see layers in you." And I find that genuinely interesting. For a woman who has ever felt like people only engage with the outermost version of her, this is the kind of thing that stays with her long after the conversation ends. Compliment number 3. I genuinely enjoy the way you think. This one goes straight to the core of identity. Here's a psychological truth worth sitting with: being admired for your appearance is pleasant, but being admired for your mind is intimate. It means someone was actually listening. Not waiting for their turn. Not scanning the room. Listening, processing, and finding something worth valuing in how you see the world. Younger men often compliment what they see. Older men, the emotionally developed ones, compliment what they experience in conversation with you. And for a woman who has spent any amount of time being reduced to how she looks, having her intelligence or her perspective recognized feels like finally being handed the right key to a door she's been standing in front of for years. Compliment number 4. You don't try to fill every silence. I respect that. This is subtle. And that's exactly why it works. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They rush to fill it, to be entertaining, to prove their worth through constant output. When a man recognizes that a woman can simply be, that she doesn't feel compelled to perform, it sends a very specific signal: you don't have to earn your place in this conversation. that creates something rare. Ease. Real, genuine ease. And here's the thing about ease, it's the soil that attraction grows in. Tension, pressure, performance anxiety, these things kill connection. When a man's words actively dissolve that pressure, the effect is profound. Compliment number 5. You have a way of making a room feel calmer. We live in a world that rewards loudness. Bold personalities, big reactions, dramatic energy, that's what gets attention. So when someone notices the opposite quality, a quiet steadiness, an ability to lower the emotional temperature in a room, it's startling in the best way. This compliment works because it's specific. It's observational. It doesn't say you're pretty or you're funny. It says, I was paying attention to the effect you have on the world around you. And I noticed something most people didn't. Older men tend to deliver this naturally because they've stopped competing with the noise. They notice quiet things. And quiet compliments, paradoxically, are the loudest ones of all. Compliment number 6. You're comfortable in your own skin. That's rarer than you think. Here's why this one lands so hard. Most women spend a significant portion of their lives being evaluated by society, by social media, by people around them, sometimes by themselves. There is an almost constant, low-level pressure to look a certain way, act a certain way, present a certain version of themselves. So when a man, a calm, grounded, older man, notices that she isn't performing, that she's genuinely at ease with herself, something releases. It's like he's saying, I see that you're not pretending, and I find that remarkable. That's not flattery. That's recognition. And recognition builds trust faster than almost anything else. Compliment number 7. You seem like someone who knows exactly who she is. This is almost less of a compliment and more of a mirror, and that's what makes it so effective. Most people are still figuring themselves out. Identity is a moving target for much of early adulthood. So to have someone reflect back that you seem grounded, self-defined, clear about your values and your nature, that affirms something deeply personal. And again, the source matters. A 22-year-old saying this might sound like guesswork. An older man saying it sounds like he's compared notes with reality. He's known enough people to recognize what settled looks like versus what unsettled is performing as settled. When he says you seem like you know who you are, she hears, I've seen the difference, and you have it. Compliment number 8. Being around you feels easy. That's not as common as people think. Save this one. Because in a world full of complicated, exhausting, high-maintenance interactions, telling someone that time spent with them feels easy is genuinely one of the most meaningful things you can say. Easy doesn't mean boring. It means no performance anxiety. No walking on eggshells. No constant recalibration of what's safe to say. It means someone's presence adds comfort to your life without adding chaos. That is an extraordinarily high compliment dressed in the simplest possible clothing. And it works precisely because of its simplicity. It doesn't oversell. It doesn't flatter. It just tells the truth, and the truth, delivered plainly, is more powerful than any polished line ever written. So here's what ties all 8 of these together. Not one of them is about appearance. That's not an accident. These compliments work because they skip the surface entirely and go directly to character, to presence, to the experience of being around someone. They say, I was paying attention to you as a full human being, and here's what I found. That's the older man's edge, if he's done the work of actually growing up, and not all of them have. The ones who have stopped needing to perform, stopped trying to win, stopped using conversation as a vehicle for ego, those men develop a natural capacity for genuine observation. And genuine observation, reflected back honestly, is one of the most connecting things one human being can offer another. Here's the takeaway, and it applies whether you're 30 or 65. the most powerful compliments come from a place of abundance, not need. They come from actually paying attention, not from searching for the right thing to say. They're not strategies. They're observations. And anyone, of any age, who learns to see people clearly and speak that truth without agenda will find that their words carry a completely different weight. That's what we're really building here on Aphorism Archive. Not a set of tricks. A way of seeing. If this one resonated with you, drop a comment and tell me, which of these 8 compliments do you think is the most underrated? I read every single one. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a good time. We put out content every week on communication, psychology, self-improvement, and the kind of relationship wisdom that actually holds up over time. I'll see you in the next one.